The rain fell in a relentless torrent, tapping against the windshield like bony fingers of a long-forgotten entity. The night was inky black, the kind that swallowed the feeble glow of streetlights and left a void of darkness that clung to everything like a shroud. I had been driving for hours. My destination, a solitary, dimly lit Wendy's on the outskirts of a desolate town. My hunger growing like a gnawing creature within me. My headlights cut through the rain, illuminating the empty parking lot as I pulled into a space near the entrance. The sign flickered, its faded red and yellow hues casting eerie shadows across the worn-out pavement. The restaurant's windows were fogged, a dim light leaking through the smeared glass, giving the impression of an otherworldly glow. I hesitated for a moment, the silence around me thickening like a choking fog. But the promise of hot food and a brief respite from the relentless storm pushed me forward. I grabbed my coat and stepped out of the car, my footsteps echoing eerily against the vacant expanse. Pushing open the heavy door, I was greeted by the familiar scent of fast food, a mixture of greasy fries, sizzling beef, and tangy ketchup. The interior was dimly lit, a few patrons scattered here and there, hunched over their meals like solitary phantoms. The low hum of conversation filled the air, punctuated by the occasional clink of utensils on plates. I approached the counter, the floor beneath me creaking with each step. A middle-aged man with tired eyes and a faded Wendy's uniform stood behind the counter, his gaze fixed on the cash register. "Welcome to Wendy's," he muttered, his voice carrying a hint of monotony. "Hi," I replied, my voice sounding unnaturally loud in the quiet space. "I'll have a Baconator combo, please." The man nodded, his hands moving with a practiced efficiency as he assembled my order. As he handed over the tray, our eyes met briefly. In that fleeting moment, I thought I saw something deeper within his gaze, a shadow, a glimmer of fear that sent a shiver down my spine. I took my tray and moved to an empty booth by the window, my heart pounding in my chest. The rain outside had turned into a relentless downpour, the drops hammering against the glass like ghostly fingers demanding entry. I unwrapped my burger, my hunger forgotten as a sense of unease settled over me. With each bite, the taste of the food grew stale, like the lingering memory of a long-forgotten nightmare. The other patrons seemed distant, lost in their own worlds, their faces shrouded in darkness despite the dim lighting. A pervasive sense of isolation settled upon me, as if I had stumbled upon a hidden corner of reality untouched by time. As I ate, I became aware of a soft, almost imperceptible sound that cut through the white noise of the rain. It was a whisper, barely audible, like the susurrus of leaves on a windless night. I strained my ears, trying to discern the words, but it was elusive, slipping through my grasp like smoke. With each passing moment, the whisper grew louder, like a murmur carried on a gust of wind. It seemed to echo in the corners of the restaurant, brushing against the edges of my consciousness like a ghostly touch. I looked around, my gaze locking onto the other patrons who seemed oblivious to the strange phenomenon. "Excuse me," I called out to the man behind the counter, my voice edged with uncertainty. "Do you hear that?" He glanced up, his eyes widening for a moment before he quickly averted his gaze. "Hear what?" he asked, his voice trembling slightly. "The whispering," I reply, my heart racing. "There's something strange happening here." He clenched his jaw, his hands gripping the counter as if seeking an anchor in the growing storm of unease. "Just eat your meal and leave," he muttered, his voice tense. My grip on the burger had tightened, the warmth of the meat seeping through the wrapper. But I couldn't shake the feeling that something was deeply wrong. The whispering had grown louder, more urgent, as if trying to convey a message from the depths of the void. I glanced around once more, my gaze meeting the eyes of the other patrons. Their faces were twisted in silent agony, their mouths moving soundlessly as if caught in a perpetual nightmare. The air felt heavy with dread, suffocating, as if the very fabric of reality was unraveling. With a sudden jolt, the lights flickered, casting the restaurant into a momentary darkness. Panic surged within me, my heart pounding like a drum. When the lights returned, I found myself alone. The other patrons vanished into thin air, leaving only empty booths and echoing whispers. The man behind the counter was gone too, his presence swallowed by the abyss. I stumbled to my feet, my unease transforming into full-blown terror. The whispering had grown into a cacophony, a symphony of voices that seemed to be speaking in languages I couldn't comprehend. Frantic, I rushed towards the exit, the rain outside a torrential downpour that matched the chaos within. The door, however, remained stubbornly shut, no matter how hard I pulled or pushed. The whispering had transformed into an anguished scream, a chorus of voices that seared through my mind like white-hot daggers. In a final act of desperation, I turned to face the empty restaurant, my voice rising above the din. "What do you want from me?" I shouted, my words carried away by the storm. And then, as suddenly as it had begun, the whispering ceased. The restaurant was plunged into silence, broken only by the sound of rain tapping against the windows. The door swung open effortlessly, the rain-soaked air rushing in to fill the void left by the spectral voices. I stumbled out into the rain, my mind reeling from the ordeal. The Wendy's stood before me, its faded sign casting a dim glow against the night. As I glanced back one last time, I could have sworn I saw a figure standing by the counter, its form shifting and indistinct. I drove away, my heart heavy with a terror that defied explanation. The rain continued to fall, a mournful lament that seemed to echo the lingering whispers in my mind. The memory of that night still haunts me, a chilling reminder that there are places where the boundaries between reality and nightmare grow thin, and where the depths of human fear can take on a life of their own.